Okay, you ready, buddy?
Okay, so I'm presenting on uh, document object model manipulation. Um, so basically, the document object model is the the uh, the model of the document object. You've got the document and its sub objects such as the HTML head and body tags and their sub objects like the title and the paragraphs and the divs and everything that's in other stuff. And the document object model is just basically the layout of what's inside what in the HTML. And you can manipulate that with JavaScript using a few methods and properties like the get element by ID is one of the main ones that people use a lot. Basically, you just say document dot get element by ID in parentheses and quotation marks probably, unless you're using a variable. You just put the ID of the element you want to get, and it searches the document for an element with that ID. You can manipulate that. You can manipulate the properties of that, such as the inner HTML. So if you have a paragraph that this manipulates is doing document dot get element by ID with the ID dot inner HTML, and the text you have on the other side of the equal sign is put into the in between the things with that ID in the HTML. So if you have a couple of MTP tags with an ID, it'll put this into that. Or you can get elements by get multiple elements by tag name or class name or whatever you want, such as taking all the H1s and turning their CSS color red. And you just change the style like that. So there's different methods and there's different properties that you can change using those methods with this syntax. And then you can create specific child elements for things by basically you can create an element and put it in a variable. So declaring the variable paragraph, you create a paragraph element to put into that variable, and that's just put into the variable, and then you make a, and then you find you use document get element by ID to find the div you want to put the paragraph in, and then you take the variable you put the you found the parent with and append the child to append the paragraph child to it. So parent dot append child in parentheses paragraph like that. And you can specify things like the order you want to put those elements in by or remove elements. So you can do what you did last time and find the parent, make a new child, and you can insert that before. You can use insert before to insert that before the first element. So you take the div dot child nodes 0 like it's a array of its children, and you just insert this before the first element. And you can right here you can remove the first element by div.remove child, or the first element or any element depending on what you have in here. So you can remove specific children of other elements, and there are a lot of ways to combine those methods and properties to do pretty much whatever you want with your HTML using JavaScript. Any questions?
There's just one thing that I would add to that, and that is the class manipulation, like the domination manipulation using classes, is really powerful because unlike the ID, like each element can only have one ID, and you can only have one element with any given ID in your document. But classes you can apply to multiple elements, so you're able
class
to
manipulation. You can pretty much
yeah
you can define a thing and then just use JavaScript to change it all at once.
exactly
Change a bunch of different ones at once, however you want.
And additionally, you can use them to return multiple elements. So if you wanted to process, every element that was of a particular type, you could use that and return an array of them. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. That would be document get elements by class name, I think.
Yep, that's right.
Stop talking. Comment. You're not allowed to talk until you're done.
Yeah, that can be really powerful if you use it right.
And then what's the add? What is it? It's like add classes or something like that. Class.
.classlist.add and then
.classlist.add. Thank you, Brooks.
I'm not sure I know that one.
Yeah, it's just how you add. Like if you wanted to add another class name to the list of element classes for that particular element, then you would just do that.
Right. Okay. So yeah, because you can have more than one class to an element, so you can't just change the element's class. That would overwrite what's there. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Any more questions? Okay. Okay. So that's pretty much my presentation then.
All right,
Anyone
cool.
else have a presentation today?
Brooks, did you want to show us your magic or?
yeah, I'm gonna show the thing here. I'm just trying to pull something up real quick here.
Sweet. How's everybody's projects coming?
Oh, looking pretty good. So let me see here. Let me share my screen. So triggering animations, wasn't able to really add any more else since the last time, but I believe this is what we're referring to here. We have our animation basically defined by a keyframe, and then inside this keyframe, we have some transforms. And these transforms are moving this element that I have going here. And that was the table data elements that slide over.
You put water and make it
Cool.
So that's basically the way I understand it is you can do these animations either set animations that are defined that CSS allows, or you can define basically the what occurs during this animation. So we do that by using these keyframes. So you set the keyframe up, name it whatever you want, define whatever it is. You know, some people have different names or use different things for these. You know, as opposed to 100%, they might say, actually, honestly, I don't know what else they would use, but I've seen other things. But this just helps the animation understand at what stage of the animation you want something to happen. And so you want to make sure that you at least Actually, some people would do like a from, and then a to. So they would do something like that to indicate where it's starting and then where you want it to end, and so the animation would occur in between that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I prefer 0% and 100%. That way you can also indicate, different stages.
Do you have to define like regular intervals like that, or can you do like 0 and then 75 and then 100?
You could do 0, 75, and then 100.
And it would actually know like how to time that properly?
Absolutely. As long
that's cool.
As long as you tell it what it's doing, of course,
Uh-huh.
in between them.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can comment some of this out.
Mm-hmm. It'll like hang on white for a while.
And then let me refresh. No, I didn't save. That would help.
Oh, look at that. Sweet.
And can you define those with JavaScript?
Define what with JavaScript?
All of it, basically.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to, absolutely. Well, manipulating keyframes in JavaScript, I'm not sure.
Well, it's just a style, right? Like you can write any style you want.
Style, yeah. I mean, it's basically an addition. As long as the keyframe itself, I think, is defined in CSS, though, and then you can add the animation to whatever class you want through JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you can actually define the keyframe.
I don't see why you couldn't. You could just like define the style on the document and then, make a keyframe. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, because it seems like there's a lot of pretty powerful stuff you could do if you can define those keyframes with JavaScript.
You make a keyframe with JavaScript. How to dynamically create at keyframe CSS animations.
First answer, well, I don't think you create an image keyframe.
Yeah, I'm looking at that same one. Complexity transition is pretty limited. Yeah, so you can do it like the next answer down, where you define style as you get in the document style.
You just put this, yeah.
And then you can just shove it in there. But really, I mean, why? I mean, I guess if you want to do some stuff programmatically, it would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I would almost think that you'd be better off setting up a whole bunch of stuff in a CSS file, and then like defining classes, and then just applying those classes in the DOM to switch back and forth. But if you wanted like total control, like complete variable manipulation, yeah, you could do it.
Yeah, so I create my tables at the beginning of the onload. So I create like all the elements that are going to store the information that are going to be displayed, and then I just change their display. And then what I do is I just tack them onto a class list. So there's that cast table.classlist.add. And I already have that defined.
Yeah.
C table.
Mm-hmm.
Have the animation there. So once that obviously is tacked on there and then it's displayed, then the animation, of course, is going to.
Nice.
Yeah. Any questions about that stuff?
Do you finish that, the trifolder?
No, I haven't finished yet.
Not for right now.
Tomorrow.
Cool. Cool.